Welcome back to part 2 of Inside Their Marriage, over 40 observations and predictions. There's my disclaimer. It's going to be just the same pictures, and I'm really just keeping them on the screen so my recorder doesn't shut down. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to start where I left off. Let's see, we got through all of that. This page. Here we go. All right, this one should be shorter. So I think Meghan resents her family is trying to cash in on her success. Well, also because she doesn't want them to reveal if she's telling, what is it they call porcupines? She was always competitive with her sister. She was always obsessed with celebrity. She was obsessed with royalty, people in power. She grew up on the sets of these shows where her father was the lighting director, and she saw that they were treated very VIP. She wanted to be a very important person. She saw how people catered to them on the set, how they looked up to them, how when they would leave off the lot, people would run up to them and wanted their autographs. They were admired. They were worshipped in her eyes. And she wanted that for herself from a very young age. Now, how was she going to get it? Any way she could. She was going to step on, walk on, trample over anybody that she needed to, and do anything that would get her in that privileged position. When Suits was ending, she knew she was being written off, and she had already divorced Trevor, and I don't think Corey was in any hurry to get married, and maybe he just didn't quite have enough to support her. She knew that it was a fluke that her second husband, Trevor, had been able to get her that audition on Suits from a favor from a friend of a friend. She goes over to Europe. London. She meets Lizzie Cundy. She goes over to the Soho house where she frequents because that's movers and shakers. That's people of influence, people of power, people that have the lifestyle that she wants to have. She conjures up this poor little me image of pulling herself up by the bootstraps, a little nobody that had no family to speak of, that grew up poor and disadvantaged, but she managed to crawl her way to the top and go to private schools and private universities that were very expensive, and pay for all these things and pay for apartments. How did she do it? Well, she's so damn remarkable that none of us could do it, but Meghan Markle can do anything. She's run with that narrative, and she's worn it out, and I'm sorry, there's a hole in her shoe, and everybody's seen through it now, because she didn't grow up underprivileged. She grew up very privileged. She made these friends by kissing up, by showering them with accolades and compliments, and she also did it with the help of her friend Marcus Anderson, whom is a very critical part of all of this, and I don't think she would have been able to do it had it not been for Marcus and the position he was in at Soho houses, and that meant that he knew the people who frequented each location. He was a very integral part to all of this. So anyway, she was obsessed with this. Meghan left for the UK. She wanted this rich man. She met with Piers Morgan, who she then ghosted. She met with Lizzie Cundy. Help me find a rich aristocrat. These people didn't care that she ghosted them. They were simply saying that that's what happened. And it's just like the SS squad. They make you feel like if you have anything negative to say, we must be jealous. We must want to be them. Oh, we're such terrible, hateful people. We're not. We don't hate anybody, and we don't hate her or him. We just hate the behavior. Dislike the behavior, I should say. Don't even like to use the word hate. So she had help, and I think Eugenie helped her a lot too. I think she was friends with her, and Eugenie had introduced him, I think, to Chelsea, to Cressida, to everybody. That was his go-to cousin for if Harry needed a date or wasn't seeing anyone. Well, he broke up with her, and she went to Tom Inskip's wedding, and then shows up, says, "Hey, I'm coming." Well, okay, all right, you got the invite before we broke up. And she hangs all over him and looks like she could claw him with the talons hanging off her fingers and giving everybody a drop dead and eat dog poop look at that wedding. It was scary, and Harry holding his stomach as ever like he's having a panic attack, and oh God, what am I going to do, and I can't get her out of here. And you should have said don't come to the wedding, and you should have kept dating the model that you were dating, or whoever, Harry. That was your real big mistake. That was a turning point in your life for allowing her back in. I still feel like she may have told him that she was with child, and that may have rushed things along, and then she was afraid of the paparazzi, and then that rushed things along because Harry was worried about her security. So I think that Harry sees that she's petty, and she's got bitchy behavior, and she's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And Harry is too, and to a sense, but his is different. Hers is intentional, and I don't think his is. He can't understand why she hates her family, why she hates his family, but he now sees that she really had no intention of going back to the UK to be half in, half out. He thought they'd have kids, she'd get over it, it would soften her, that they'd become a mom, and that she would want to make him happy, knowing how important it was to him to be with his family. But let's face it, a narcissist doesn't care. She could care less what he thinks, what he feels. That doesn't even cross her mind because it's all about her. She's never missed her family. She's above them. She thinks she's superior to them and everybody around them. And she uses people. And then when she gets what she wants from them, she ghosts them. She knows that they can call out her lies. Meghan tries to be Diana 2.0. She tries to dress like her, act like her, be recognized as a humanitarian like her. She wanted to be the people's princess. She thought, I'm married to the people's prince. I want to be the people's princess. I want to be Diana reincarnate. I'll be that for Harry because that'll make Harry happy, because Harry can't deal with the loss of his mother, which is sad. But that's why he needs real help from a real therapist. And he's not going to be able to do it as long as he's with her, because she's going to tell him how to think, how to feel, and what to do. She probably tells him when to go to the bathroom. I know Harry misses his family, but he's so controlled by her. He's awake to her lies, the deceit. He knows what she's done. He knows and realizes some things he's done. He doesn't know how to fix it. He doesn't know what to do. But as long as he's with her, he will keep accommodating her. He's an empty shell of himself. And every time he says that he's happy, you just have to look and say, that's not the face of a man that's happy. That's not how the body language works for someone who is ecstatic and happy and, everything is good in his life. No. He's sad. He's defeated. He's given up and given in. He doesn't, I don't think at this point, even try to stand up to Meghan. I think to keep the peace, it's, and thinking about the children, let's just go along with her. It's easier that way. I've seen people do this. And when you try to talk to them and you try to explain to them that, no, that's not the right thing, and you're only enabling them to continue with that behavior. For them, life's so hard being with that person, it's not worth the fight. Eventually, you all get tired and worn out. You ever just been through something so bad in your life that you just don't care to go on anymore? I think that's the way Harry feels a lot of times. I'm not excusing his behavior. What he's done is terrible. What he's been involved with, what he's done to go along with his wife and how she's treated them. I don't know if William will ever forgive him, the way he's hurt his wife. William loves Catherine and her family, and she has always loved Harry. Then you have this book of memoir, worried about what he's going to say about Charles Camilla. Oh, he's going to go out of his way not to say anything about the Queen, they said. Tina Brown even said. How do we know that? Now it's being rumored, and I think it was Neil Sean that said it, that the publishing company, Penguin, wants him to kind of hold off and save a chapter to add in the book at the end before going to publishing about the Jubilee and about his feelings or whatever might happen over there. They want to get the biggest bang for their buck. You know, it's not going to be guaranteed that it's going to be a big seller, especially if he hasn't even seen his family, but what, at his grandfather's funeral and then over for this brief meeting. So everybody's wanting their pound of flesh. Netflix wants theirs. They're mad that he talked to Hoda Kotb from the morning news show in America. They're upset that he's done this New Zealand commercial, but he's doing that because of what was said about Meghan and going on tours. Harry the Fixer, that's his new name, the Fixer. So what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. She can never be alone. She must have a man under her control at all times and in a relationship with him. Harry, he's just a puppy now. He's went through puppy training, and he follows the lead and is on the leash and does everything he's supposed to. Let's talk about some of the conditions that, again, I'm not a psychiatrist or medical professional, but this is what I've noticed and what I've seen, and I have studied enough to where I feel like I can at least give my perspective on what I think that they have and what others have talked about them having, and what we've seen with other people who supposedly are diagnosed with personality disorders. But I think Meghan is a narcissist. I think she has some borderline tendencies, and we know, or I believe she has that histrionic personality. They either take on a princess or alternate reality. And my God, Meghan took on the Little Mermaid when she said her voice was silenced. Were you silent or were you silenced? The latter. Oh, God, help us, please. It just shows you the level of, here's a grown woman, 40 years old, and she's comparing herself to the Little Mermaid. Harry's completely, again, he's gone. Harry's just gone. So I think that Harry has low-range narcissistic tendencies. I think Harry does suffer from PTSD, but it's not from the war. Let's face it, he wasn't a frontline leader. Even Trevor Colt said it. Even Tina Brown's The Palace Papers said it. He always had special forces surrounding him. He was never in any threat and danger, and when they heard they were looking for him, that put his other comrades in danger, and they get him on a plane or a helicopter and get him out of there. You can't have something happen to someone in line to the throne, right? All right, so I think that his PTSD comes from traumatic experience, the loss of his mother, walking behind her coffin, not being able to get the help he needs, and also being mentally fragile. I think that just because he's not, the smartest person, and he's a very emotional person. Nothing wrong with being emotional, but it just, he's had a difficult time. Also, I think that Meghan suffers these personality disorders. There's no cure. There's treatment. These people don't change. You can rescue them. You can go in and try to fix them and take that emotional baggage away, but it's not going to happen. I also think she maybe has ADD, attention deficit disorder. I see some of, and maybe even the hyperactivity. Maybe she has the ADHD. I see the inattentiveness. I see the immaturity. Sometimes I see ODD, oppositional defiance disorder, but definitely a codependency. I think that she has a lack of emotional IQ, or very low score. Harry, suffers the PTSD, but again, I think from the loss of his mother. And I think he's definitely got PTSD now, and not from the military, because he was never faced with anything that would traumatize him. He never even had to go out and face the enemy. It's been proven now. I think that he has ADHD, that he's always had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He's all over the place, and he acts like a little kid. There's that immaturity, inattentiveness. He's impulsive. He's just like Meghan, oh my God, and how they are reactionary. But yeah, I think he has trouble focusing and doing what he needs to do. And also a little bit of that defiance too, because he doesn't want to take anybody else's advice. He doesn't want to listen. He wants to do what he wants to do. And he's entitled. He's privileged. He's a prince. So I think that he does have a high emotional IQ, and that he gets from his mother. But he has codependency issues. I think he has some empathy for people. And I feel like he suffers from a major depressive disorder. And it could also prove to be harmful for him, to where he would want to self-harm. Where Meghan said she was so depressed and didn't get help, I think that she was suffering from other things. I don't think it was depression. I think it was not getting her way, and it was major moods and mood swings and mania, highs and lows, I think, from borderline disorder. But with those personality issues, histrionic and narcissism, that's a tough combination. And we can see it because, my God, she thinks that she's, the leader of the free world. And who has that kind of confidence? That's something more. It's a sickness. It's something that's not realistic. It's not normal. Let's just say that. And we have seen some of the shades or images of that with Amber Heard. Not saying she's Amber Heard, but there's a lot of similarities between them because of her having the borderline, the narcissism, and the histrionic personality. There is a lot in common, and they cannot see their own flaws, and they'll never admit to doing anything wrong because they see the world and see things that everybody has harmed them, that people haven't been there for them. That's the way they see it. I mean, it's emotion, it's mental sickness. It really is. They are not, neither are healthy individuals. And especially when you're not seeing a therapist and you're not seeking help for it, and trying to do modification behavior therapy, to where you're trying to recognize these instances of when you behave this way so that you can make a conscious choice to behave differently. Not that you could do it all the time, but at least it helps you recognize. But Meghan's never had a problem in her mind. It's everybody else's problem. So what else do we have? I think that now that there's a lack of effort toward each of them, maybe even in their goals and their objectives, but definitely in their marriage. I just see Meghan being disappointed at having all these failures and having to work so hard to try to have all of these different PR teams and paying so much to have people try to put a positive headline out when it's to the point that they really don't have anything to put out. So they recycle all of these headlines and put everything out again over and over. And of course it's all in the same ones, the ones that they're paying for to be in. When they walked away and said they're only going to choose to work with certain outlets and some of the underprivileged and some of the minority voices that haven't been heard. Well, they work with the ones that Sunshine Sachs works with. The publications that are happy to take your money and publish the article that you wrote or copy and paste it so that you get your narrative across. I think they each have drug problems and alcohol. I think that there's addictions at play. I think that Harry can't manage his. And I think Meghan probably drinks a lot, but I think they both abuse. I don't know this, but I think they do. It's just sometimes when you see them, good Lord, we've seen them in so many instances now where they looked stoned out of their head. where their pupils were so dilated, and it just their behavior and actions did not look right. Whether it was illicit or legal, I don't know, but there's definitely times when they seemed off kilter and something was definitely wrong. I think they have so many arguments and are just overspending and just doing all of these things that are going to further destroy them and bring them down. Let's see what else I have. I hope they get treatment. I hope they get the proper diagnosis. I hope that they're seen by someone who is licensed to diagnose and prescribe medication or therapy, whatever the case is. And I'm just looking over my notes to see if I got everything. I think that's it. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you will join in the comments and tell me if you see any of these traits in them that I've talked about. If you agree or disagree, and whatever you feel is totally you. Talk to each other in there and just tell me what you think. But I think Harry will stay with her till she kicks him aside, unless something very bad happens. And I do think that they're going to end up getting in some kind of legal trouble to do with their businesses, and that it's not going to be good. And maybe that's what it's going to take, and maybe then Harry will lose his special visa. I don't know. I just don't see good things coming out of this, or the book that he's writing, his memoirs. Harry needs to be away from her. They're not good together. He needs to go home and repair and mend his relationships. Meghan's never going to do that with her family. And it's a sad state that if they have 2 kids, and if those kids are in that home and they don't even get out in the light of day, go to different outings with them, and you've never seen them papped going out to get an ice cream or to go get a new pair of shoes. So tell us what's going on with that. Quit. We're all so tired of the mysterious circumstances surrounding these kids, their births, their delivery, their parentage, their DNA, their line of succession. Harry being counselor of state, and it just said recently that that he lives there and will. And I'm recording, babe. And that he will remain that. Well, let's see if he does. Let's get through the Queen's Jubilee. As frustrated as we all feel, they are family. And I think she's hoping that if he comes back and spends some time with him, he'll know he's got a family. And maybe they're hoping that he will escape her. Because basically that's what it is escape her. Harry's made a mess of his life. I think we can all agree on that. She's made a mess of her life. But she's done that since she was able to walk and talk. I don't know what I was going to say, but tell me what you think. I just think they're both miserable people, and I know we're sick of seeing them in the headlines, and what else are they going to do? Where's Meghan going to go from here? If she loses Spotify, where's she going to go? What, really? Politics? It's not going to happen. She can run. She can get on a ticket. Nothing saying she can't, but the Democratic Party is not going to back her. But then I should take that and think for a moment and think, yeah, I didn't think they would back Kamala Harris either, but who else were they going to put on the ticket with Joe Biden? She's the vice president, and she's the one that does nothing, and her staff can't work with her, and basically everybody that came in with her in the White House has all walked away. Got to be careful what you say, because God forbid it be disinformation. But anyway, so there's a lot of similarities there. So who knows? They could stick her on there with ticket. Maybe it would be Pete Buttigieg, because he and his partner did adopt a child or children, and she wrote a letter to lobby for paid leave for people who had adopted children and stuff, or to extend it and to get it with pay. He took his time off, and there was a lot of crisis going on then. Was she trying to say, hey, if you run, can I be on your ticket? Maybe she was. Who is she after? But we know who's backing her. We know some of the people that are from the left that have deep pockets that love to fund these people with their woke ideas and tell us what we can and can't do, and that what we say is disinformation when it's not, when we speak the truth. Remember, it's our truth, just like she had her truth. Do you think Oprah will sit down with her again? I don't believe she would, but if she did, I don't think Oprah would ever sit down and passively allow her to talk about the talking points that she wants to. I think it would be a very different situation. But I'm going to end there. Tell me what you think in the comments. Don't forget to give me a like, a share. Recommend me to a friend if you enjoy it. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for being here. I'm grateful to have you, and I'll see you all in the comments. I'm a little behind on the last video or so, but I will get to those comments. Been super busy and keeping my fingers crossed that these two upload. Love you all. Have a great day. Thanks so much.